We're talking about communication skills today, things that, you know, software developers have a well-deserved reputation of having trouble communicating. So I thought that this might be a useful thing for us to discuss. There are a lot of people are able to do this well, and so I figure that let's look into this. You know, we need to communicate with our family. We need to communicate well with our friends. We've probably done that pretty well most of our lives. We need to communicate with strangers. So we're going to the store, we're going to, talking to clients or that sort of thing. We need to talk to coworkers if we're going to get work done effectively. We need to talk to our managers if we want to be able to do our job well. And we need to talk to customers if we want to sell our products or just be able to succeed in the marketplace. So communication skills really affect about every aspect of our lives. So this book, my father gave me a copy of this book when I was young, and it's been transformational for me. It's really helped me to guide my life, how to win friends and influence people. And it really has most of the keys that you'll need for having effective communication. So I would very strongly recommend that if you have not read this book, or if you don't have a copy of it, this should be top of your shelf. You should at least go over this book once a year to make sure that you are maximizing your skills in communication. So the book is based on a number of principles. First, you need to have your techniques for handling people, and then how to make people like you. These are this is what we're needing to do every day, whether we're talking with our coworkers or talking with people in our family. And don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Well, these are all the main things we need to be concerned about. Let's look at them in detail. So first, we're going to say nobody likes to be criticized, and nobody likes to listen to a complainer. If you can be positive, upbeat, the one who comes in with solutions rather than the one who comes in with the list of problems, you're going to be the one that people are going to want to be around, and you're going to be the one that people want to go to. And if you're going to be complaining about people, then no one's going to trust you. No one's going to want to be no one's going to want to be around you, and not going to want to be away from you, because they know as soon as they're away from you, you're going to be talking about them, and you're going to be running them down, just like you're running down all the people that aren't there. So you want to make sure that you're not the one to criticize, condemn, or complain. You want to be the one to build up, encourage, and cover over others' mistakes. You want to give honest and sincere appreciation. Everyone can tell when you're blowing smoke. Everyone can tell when you're just saying something to make them feel good, and it doesn't feel good. It's generally offensive, and it makes people angry, and it makes them not trust you. It's like, okay, yeah, what are you trying to get from me? So make sure that when you're appreciating someone, tell them why you appreciate them. Tell them, this is what you did, and I appreciate you doing that. And so if you have something specific to talk about, that will be something that they will know is sincere, and that is something they can build on, and this is something I should continue to do, rather than something that, I don't know, something that you're just blowing smoke, and they don't even want to pay attention to it. This is probably the hardest. You want to arouse in the other person an eager want. You want to sell the vision, sell the dream. You want to build up, this is what the world could be like. You want to develop in them a desire for the thing that you're interested in. If you're really excited, if you've ever talked to somebody who's really excited about something, you can't help but get excited about it too, because they're just so their enthusiasm is so infectious. And that enthusiasm is what sells anything. Enthusiasm is very infectious, and it just inspires other people to want to join in on the team and be a part of it. So the best way to arouse that kind of eager want is to be sincerely interested and fascinated by something, or sincerely just sold out on some idea, and then sell them on the idea about what it is that sold out about. Next, we want to talk about 6 ways to make people like you. Well, if you want somebody to be interested in you, people are more interested in people who are interested in them. Okay? So if you want someone to be interested in you, first you have to take an interest in them. You have to find out something that's fascinating about you, or about them, and and key in on that. And I'm sure there's lots of times you've gone to a party, or you've just been in a social situation, and you're talking with somebody and you have no idea what to say, and you're trying to think of something interesting to break the conversation. You can just focus on what the other person, something about the other person's life. You can think about, for instance, where do you work? What kind of job do you do? Where do you live? Tell me about your home city, where are you from, your family life. Tell me, do you have any kids? Are you married? Are you not? Tell me about your family life. Tell me about what are your hobbies? What things are you interested in? These are all things that, you can get the other person talking, and you can become interested in something that they talk about. And then once you're interested in them, they're going to find you an absolutely fascinating person. There's a story of a woman who was at a party, or at some sort of a banquet in England, and she was sitting next to, she's between, I think it's Benjamin Disraeli and I can't remember the other major world figure. And someone asked her afterwards, what did you think about those people you were talking with? She said, well, the prime minister, I just thought he was the most interesting person in the world. But Mr. Disraeli thought I was the most interesting person in the world. And so that clearly left a great impression. So you want to be the one who they say that about, that you think they're the most interesting person in the world. This is probably it's deceptively simple. It's just smile. People are attracted to happy people. If someone has a grimace on their face, or someone's got their eyebrows furrowed, or they look unapproachable or upset about something, no one wants to talk to you. They want to stay away from you and let you go and figure out your stuff. But if you smile, that means you're approachable. You're interested. You're an interesting person, and people want to be around happy people because they want to be happy too. A person's name is the most beautiful sound in the universe to them. Even it doesn't matter what you say. You just, if you can, when you meet somebody, if you repeat, when they introduce themselves, if you repeat their name back to you, they'll instantly be attracted to you. They'll instantly think that you're you're someone who would be better to get to know. Also, if you repeat their name, you have a better chance of actually remembering their name. There's so many times I've met somebody and I've been so nervous, or trying to make sure that I didn't forget my own name, that I completely forgot their name. If you make it a habit to repeat someone's name when you first meet them, then it'll make a great first impression, and it'll help you remember their name. And if you can mention their name once or twice, during the conversation, that will also make a big impression. If you mention the name too often, they're going to think you're trying to sell something. So, you need to find that balance. Don't say their name too often, but do say their name. It really makes a huge difference. Be a good listener. So, like I said before, those four main things that you can use to get people to talk about themselves. What kind of work do you do? Where do you live? Tell me about your family. Tell me about your hobbies. Those sorts of things can get somebody talking. And listen, really listen. One helpful technique for listening to people is to look at their mouth while they're speaking. It's a simple thing, but if someone is talking and you're looking around the room or looking at your hands or looking at your phone, they're going to think that you're not really listening to them. You're not really interested in them, and they'll just stop talking and move away. But if you look at their mouth or their eyes and you really make it a point to listen to what they're saying and encourage them to say more, you're married? Really? So where did you get married? What was that like? So how did you meet? Tell me about how did you propose? That there's, 1,000 questions that can come out of that particular topic. So, you can be constantly asking them questions and they will go on and on and on. And that gives you lots of opportunities to practice listening. The more you can practice listening, the better you get at it. And really, it's a critical skill, because you want to be able to, when you're listening to someone, you want to be able to repeat back to them some of the things that they say now and then, so that they know that you are hearing them and that you understand them. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. If you are interested in, I don't know, rock collecting or something, and the other person is interested in coin collecting, you can put your own interests aside and say, so tell me about coin collecting. I mean, I collect stuff too. Tell me about your coin collection, and learn about all the fascinating aspects of their hobby. I promise, if you take an interest in someone's hobby, something that they're passionate about, they will carry the conversation and it will be interesting and fascinating. It's a great way to get people to take an interest in you, is that you take an interest in them, and especially in the things that they are interested in. Make the other person feel important sincerely. Again, people can tell when you're just blowing smoke. You need to notice certain things. If they're telling a story and they talk about maybe they won some award, congratulate them for winning the award. If they have, they seem to know about a lot about a particular subject, point that out to them. Say, you've really done your research on this. That's pretty impressive. You know this in depth. They will appreciate that, and they will take that as a sincere compliment. And if you just start blowing smoke, they're going to get turned off, and they will not end up liking you. Okay, so these are the best, the primary skills we need to try and connect with somebody individually. Next, I want to talk about leadership skills that we need. You need to become the leader in your team, whether or not you have the title. There are various leadership skills that you need to have mastered. If you're wanting to, say, talk with your coworkers about adopting a new technology, you need to use whatever leadership skills you can to try and sell that to the rest of the team. If you're just going to tell them, I want to do this because it would be good for me and I think it's interesting, nobody cares about that. As a good friend of mine likes to say, nobody cares about you. They care about what you can do for them. So what you want to do is build up your leadership skills. So let's go over some of these in detail. You want to begin, again, praise and honest appreciation. You want to appreciate what the other person brings to the table. And again, be specific about what that is. I really appreciate that when we're at our status meetings, you have everything ready to go. You know exactly what you're going to say. You make sure the meeting moves on quickly. You don't go and ramble about whatever you're working on. That saves us a lot of time, and it keeps the meeting interesting. That sort of thing is much more useful than, I'm really glad you're here. Why? Oh, just because. Whatever. What does that mean? You want to have something specific that you're appreciating someone for. If someone makes a mistake, you want to take them aside and point it out to them individually. You don't want to go and embarrass somebody in front of the whole rest of the team. That will create distrust. It'll create discord, and basically it breaks up the cohesion of the team. Nobody's going to want to be around you because they don't know if you're going to be the next one that they publicly that they'll be the next one that you publicly embarrass. So you want to make sure that you're not the one who is talking about somebody in front of the rest of the team. Take them aside, say, I noticed this. I just want to bring it to your attention, and so this is something that we need to work on. Okay. And when you are talking about someone's mistakes, talk about your own mistakes first. Okay. For instance, I forget things a lot, and I know that it's easy to do. There's 1,000 things we have to do. So I understand if we forget things. So, but you forgot to do this sort of thing. And I understand because, honestly, I do it all the time too. What can we do? What can we put in place to make sure that we don't forget this again? And that makes it a lot easier than, oh, you forgot it again. All right, great. Should have known. You're always forgetting stuff. That's not helpful. That's not going to change anyone's mind. That's not going to bring them to your side. That's poor leadership. Also, ask questions. Make requests instead of telling somebody, I need this done, I need that done, I need the other thing done. Say, okay, so we need to have X, Y, and Z done. Mike, would you be able to look at X? I know that's sort of your forte. And Bob, do you mind looking at Y? Because I know you've been interested in looking at that. And if you need any help, please talk to me. That sort of thing is much more effective than, okay, Bob, you do X, Mike, you do Y, blah, blah, blah. That's, yeah, who died and made you boss? If someone has done something that is embarrassing, you want to give them the opportunity to save face. You want to give them an out so that they know that they're not just a failure as a human being. You want to give them that, like I was saying before, I make this mistake all the time, so I understand that it happens. How can I help you to make sure that it doesn't happen again? That kind of a correction goes down a whole lot easier than just telling somebody they've done something wrong and my expectations are low anyway. I've got a picture of a dog here for a reason. If you want to train a dog to do something well, then you praise them for even leaning in that direction, and then they'll start to do what you ask them to do. And people are a lot like this as well. You want to praise any leaning in the right direction rather than chastise someone for not doing what you want. You want to praise them for even getting close to what you want. Yeah, I know that I know these meetings run on a long time, and I really appreciate that that you at least brought your notebook to this meeting so that you could have something to refer to, and so we could keep these meetings running more quickly, rather than, man, you tend to ramble a lot. Can you just stop that? But you want to constantly tell them, you did this right, and I appreciate you doing that right. Another thing you could do right is, and constantly be encouraging them to do better and work better to do what it is you want them to do. People really do respond to sincere praise. If you give somebody a reputation, they will work hard to live up to it. If you give them a low reputation, they will work hard to prove that they deserve that low reputation. If you give them a good reputation, they will work hard to meet that high reputation that you've set for them. So, if someone has done something, whatever, they've made some dumb mistake in their code or something, you can say, hey, I really, I thought that you really made testing a priority for your code. So let's work together to make sure that we really raise the bar for ourselves and for the rest of the team, so that we do better testing, so we don't run into this kind of problem again. How's that sound? Of course, if you tell them, you never really were good at testing, I promise that they're gonna be generating plenty of crap to prove you right. So if you raise the bar, you tell them that you have high expectations, they will step up to meet those expectations. And if you make it seem like it's a small thing and it's easy to correct, then that gives people hope. If you give them the sense that it's hopeless, then what's the point? But if you say, yeah, it's a small thing. I know, these meetings tend to run a long time. I guess I'm fixated on long meetings, but the meetings tend to run a long time. What can we do to fix it? Well, how about we just, let's just come with what we need to say on a piece of paper. Why don't we do that? That's probably a simple thing that we can do, and then we can just read what we have to, and the meeting can move on more quickly that way. How about we have an agenda for the meeting so that we know what we can stick to, and we're not going to get distracted by lots of other topics. That agenda for the meeting would be really helpful. Why don't we do that? Suggest ideas and make them small steps, easy things to do, and people will be much more likely to join on your team and be a part of the solution rather than continue to be a part of the problem. Make the other person happy about what you suggest. So this is sort of tied into what we were saying before, where you encourage people for every little thing that they do. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. You want to make sure that they know that you are impressed with what they do, that you're pleased with what they do, and that it's high quality. It's something that people should emulate. And if you have a suggestion for how to make things go better, you'll need to sell it. You'll want to say, how you're always saying that we have trouble with the code. The program keeps breaking in odd ways. I'm thinking that if we institute a logging, a habit of logging, and just put logs in for each of the new functions that we do, and have that sort of that dump be available, that we can probably come up with a higher quality code. And this is just, if you don't think that would work, what's another suggestion that you think might work better? But sell it in terms of what their interests are, what their goals are, and they will be happier to listen to your suggestion of what should be done. Okay, so we've covered a whole bunch of different related topics on how to relate to people, how to communicate with people, how to listen to people, and how to think in the other person's interests. How do we apply these principles now? So for instance, in our family, what can we do? Well, again, we can listen to somebody sincerely. A lot of times it's hard to listen to our kids. Frankly, they can be pretty boring. but if we listen to them, take an interest in them, then they're more likely to listen to what we want. If we praise them for the small things that they do right, then they'll be more interested in doing more things right to please us. Talking with our spouse, if I want to see this movie and you want to see that movie, well, maybe we can come to an agreement. Okay, how about we see this movie this week and we'll see that movie next week, or vice versa. We'll work something out and we'll discuss it from the other person's point of view. See what the other person's interest is. Why is it that you want to do this? Why is it so important to you? I sincerely want to know so that I can join in on that, and I can make sure that you're getting what you want, and then I can get what I want as well. When we're talking with our friends, I read recently that friends are useless, and the meaning of that is that you're not friends because someone can do something for you. If you're friends with somebody because they always buy you lunch, and when they stop buying you lunch, then they're not friends. They never were a friend. They were a lunch ticket. If you're friends with somebody because they are able to give you a ride to the store, they're not a friend. They're a chauffeur. We have friends because we share common interests, and we like to be together. We help each other become better people. And the way you do that is I take an interest in what you do, and then you take an interest in what I do, and it's just we make each other better people. And that's really that's what friendship is all about. And we're able to practice these communication skills, especially with our friends, because they likely know more about us than than most other people we work with. It's important to practice these principles with strangers. If you're at the store and you want to, maybe negotiate a deal, if you're going to buy some extra things, you can negotiate from the store owner's perspective. So, I shop here regularly, and I'm going to be making a big purchase this time. Is there a way that you can, cut me a little slack this time, and I'll make sure that next time I come, I'll bring a couple of friends. We'll find some way to make it interesting to them, make it valuable to them. Hey, even if you're interviewing for a new job, you want to be able to talk in terms of the perspective of the potential employer. What are their interests? What are they looking for? I want to make sure that the things that I sell to them are things that they are interested in learning about, or things they're interested in for the position they're trying to fill. And obviously, with your coworkers, you're going to need to, if you're going to want to sell an idea to your coworkers, you're going to want to be able to have the skills to communicate with them, to listen to what they're interested in, and again, talk in terms of their interests. If you want to use a different programming language, then you need to say, okay, this programming language would be helpful, for your resume, or this would be helpful in us getting things written more quickly, and it'll be helpful in making sure that the product is more stable. So you want to be able to to talk in terms of the other person's perspective there. And if you listen to what they want, then they'll be more likely to listen to what you want, and you can negotiate from that perspective. Again, talking to your manager. Your manager. I heard once that your job is to make your manager successful, and also no one cares about your career more than you do. So if you can make your manager successful, then your manager will be interested in helping you to advance your career, because you've helped them to advance their career. So if you focus on what they're interested in, if you listen to what they want, you listen to what their priorities are, they're more likely to listen to what your priorities are. So, I've done good for you, and you need to communicate to them, I have done X, Y, and Z. They're not keeping track of all that stuff. I have, these are the things that I've accomplished. You might have like a weekly or a monthly report that you give your manager. These are the things that I've accomplished, and put it in terms of what they are trying to accomplish. So I was able to save money by adding this feature. I was able to save so many hours of work by making sure that this bug didn't come up, or that we got this bug solved in a short amount of time. So make sure that you communicate to your manager things that are interesting to them and the things that are also helpful for you. That way everybody wins. And finally, your customers. You want to be able to communicate from the perspective of your customers, so that you make sure they know that you're giving them what they want. You want to be able to, you don't want to just give them a litany of all the great features of your product. They couldn't care less about the different features. I'm connecting to one database. I don't care that you can connect to 6 different databases. How does that impress the customer? All I want to know is, do you connect to Oracle? Okay, good. So that would be, you want to make sure that you understand the needs of the customer and the interests of the customer, so that you're able to sell whatever you need to in terms of what the customer needs and what the customer wants. So again, you want to listen to what they have to say before you try and tell them what you're trying to do. Okay, so let me summarize with some of these, some key points here. First, don't criticize. These are some quotes from the book that I find just really helpful. Criticism is futile. It puts a person on the defensive, usually makes him strive to justify himself. It's dangerous because it wounds a person's pride, hurts their sense of importance, and this is key, it arouses resentment. When you if you get somebody starting to resent you, then it's sort of like when you break trust. Trust is easy to build, and it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Once you build resentment, it is really hard to get respect developed after that point. Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. I love that quote. It takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. Also remember that people are emotional. When dealing with people, let's remember we're not dealing with creatures of logic. We're dealing with creatures of emotion, creatures bristling with prejudices and motivated by pride and vanity. I know that that's hard for a lot of us as engineers to deal with sometimes. It's like they're just not thinking logically. It's not rational. Well, people are emotional. Most of the decisions even we make are emotional, because that's just the way people are. And so if you keep that in mind, you can it's easier to remember to keep these communication skills in mind, and be sensitive to where is the other person coming from. The key to influencing others, the only way on earth to influence other people, is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. And finally, if there's any one secret of success, lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view, see things from that person's angle, as well as from your own. So yes, understand their point of view, but also have the courage to put forward your point of view. So it takes empathy and it takes courage, and these are important skills. So I know I went through that quickly. I guess I'm a little nervous. So basically, that's really what I have to say. I wanted to let you know that there's a site that you can go to. You want to learn more about various technologies. We call it the low-hanging book, and you can either look at that QR code or type in this. Also, if you want to get a hold of me, well, yeah, my name is Scott Wierschem. That's where you can find me on Twitter, and I have a website, Keep Calm and Refactor. If you would like to talk with me about maybe working on some of your communication skills, ways that you can maybe improve your career and work on this sort of thing. For the people who've come to this session, I've set up a link here. This is a Calendly link, so you can set up a time with me to talk, and I'm happy to do that. So yeah, that's what I have for you, and that's really what I have to say. And I will encourage you to communicate masterfully, make friends, and influence people. So are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Well, goodness. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, the book I will put in the title. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yeah, it's a terrific book, and I vigorously recommend that you have a copy of that on your desk or nearby. It was written back in the 40s and 50s, and it's been a reference book for people to improve their careers for decades. It's one of those books that has staying power.